Hey guys and welcome. So today we're going to be going over Edexcel Biology B Paper 1 May 2017. So question 1. Plant and animal cells contain a number of organelles. The table gives information about some of these organelles. Which of the following describes the structure of organelle S? So as we can see, organelle S is 2500 nanometers in size and involved in protein modification. So that's the key word, protein modification, as this only occurs in the Golgi body or apparatus. So we need to see which of the options in A gives hints of the Golgi apparatus. So here it's C, and that's because stacks of curved cystinae, is the key word, is in the Golgi body. So cystinae is the flattened membranous discs where the modification occurs. So if you didn't know that C is the Golgi body, then you could have worked it out by a process of elimination. So A network of interconnecting tubules, only gives hint that it's an endoplasmic reticulum because of the connections. And the endoplasmic reticulum is only involved in protein synthesis, not modification, so it won't be A. B is a pair of cylinders at right angles to one another. That is an accurate description of centrioles. And centrioles are involved in cell division, not modification of the protein, because they produce the spindle fibers. So, it's not B. D says two subunits with a groove. That is specific to a ribosome, because ribosomes are made of two subunits. In eukaryotes it's 50S and 30S, while in prokaryotes it's 50S and 20S. And the groove is where the mRNA attaches. And ribosomes are only involved in protein synthesis, not modification, so it won't be D. So, question B. Which row of the table is correct for organelles Q and R? If we go back to the table, it says Q contains thylakoids. Thylakoids are only present in chloroplasts, and they are involved in the light-dependent part of photosynthesis. So, Q is chloroplast. And R is involved in aerobic respiration. That is the mitochondria. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the cytoplasm. So, Q is the chloroplast, which is found only in plants. And R is found in plants and animals. So, the answer here would be C. C. Which of the following shows the organelles in order of size from smallest to largest? So, first thing, let's write it out. Now, the first thing you have to do is convert them all to the same units. This is in meters, this is in nanometers, and that's in micrometers. It doesn't matter what units they are all converted in, as long as they're all the same. So, one thing you have to learn is the calculation to convert it. So, as we go to a smaller unit, the numbers is going to be bigger, so we times by 1,000. And going back, you would do the opposite and divide. So I'm going to choose to convert them all to micrometers because that's just the middle units. So P is in meters, so we have to go to micrometers. So I'm going to be timing by 1,000 and times by 1,000 again, which gives me 0.001 micrometers. S is in nanometers, And to get to micrometers, I'll divide by 1,000, which gives me 2.5 micrometers. And T is already in micrometers. So the largest is T and the smallest is P. So the answer is A. Right. Now, D. The number of organelles in the table which contain DNA is, well, there are only 3 organelles which contain DNA. That is the nucleus, the chloroplast, and the mitochondria. Chloroplast and mitochondria contain DNA that does not belong to the nucleus, and that is because of the theory that they used to be independent to the eukaryotic cells but were engulfed later on by them. And another thing is they all have a double membrane. So we need to see if the tables contain these 3 organelles, and as we've seen by the previous question, they contain the chloroplast and mitochondria. So we need to see if the nucleus is involved. So going back and figure out the organelles involved in translation, that would be the ribosome. That's what's happening down here. Contains thylakoids, we said is the chloroplast. Involved in aerobic respiration, we said the mitochondria. Involved in protein modification, we said the Golgi body. And T is the nucleus, because the hints are 6 micrometers. And 6 micrometers is the biggest size of the organelles in this table. And we know that the nucleus is the largest and densest organelle involved in the cell. Another clue is it says a double membrane. And since we figured out that mitochondria is R and Q is a chloroplast, the only organelle left that has a double membrane would be a nucleus. Q is not specific to a organelle. So the answer would be C. Part E. The DNA of organelle R contains 37 genes. 13 of these genes code for proteins involved in part of aerobic respiration. Calculate the percentage of genes coding for these proteins. So whenever they say percentage, that means we're going to have to times by 100 at the end. But we have 13 genes, and the total is 37. So we have done this in a particular way because on top we put the desired figure, and here it's 13, and we divide it by the total. So there are 13 genes that code for aerobic respiration in 37 genes, and then we times by 100. This should give us 35.1%.